Yo, Westside, what it do? Y'all see how I'm coming, man. Gratitude from me to you, to whoever might be watching this video, passing through, just like I'm doing, man. I'm glad to be in nature. I'm glad to have been called into nature, into a park that I dearly love, you know what I mean? I'm out here in Gardena, man. You know what I'm saying? Vibing, nigga. Where a lot of things have started for me along my journey. But today's video, not gonna be so much about me. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna be so much about me and my personal journey. But then again, it is shit. Because coming from my wisdom of experience, I want to share some things that I've been learning and discovering and coming to know. Just through my meditations and just through a lot of things more. I would say. Reminding me of things that I already knew, but better in the context of what I need to know, like in the sense of like vocabulary or just specifics. You know what I mean? So that's been something that I've been like wowing myself with, because I would say like the learning journey has been like keeping me on point. It's been keeping me on point, and at the same time, I don't get bored. You know what I'm saying? I'm not getting bored. I'm finding more interest. I'm finding more love. I'm finding more creativity. I'm finding more of my divine will and ability to do the things that I want to do and I'm called to do. So that just feels more empowering and inspiring just as I go. But this video is going to consist of psychedelics and okay. Because I gotta make sure I put this in the title. That's why. But today's video consists of psychedelics and thermodynamics, man. Because I've been deep in the space of meditation, and at the same time, I've been just having some great realizations where it comes to a point of I would say a deeper understanding of what is going on spatially in the mind, as one, moves through, different motions and modes and things and thoughts and all of that, because that's what a nigga be doing, you know what I mean, when it comes to the experience of the experience, you know what I'm saying? When we talk about meditative states and, or interdimensional travel or space travel or connecting more with the higher self or the source, input, all of that, I've been coming to some to me, I feel there's some discoveries. It's kind of deep, because I'm understanding my experience and the things that I've been going through way better, way more clear, and way more profoundly interconnected with science and things related to physics and all things of that nature of the lab and shit, right? So that's been amazing, because and what was this, yesterday? Yeah, yesterday I was meditating, and today, I've been doing my research and shit, just because, when you receive certain information, that calls to you, you got to look into it, and definitely you got to look into yourself and understand what does it all mean for you, you know what I'm saying? What is the energy, should I say, tell you about you based on the information, you know what I'm saying? How are you able to process or have a clear understanding of what it is that you are then learning or picking up on? And so that was thermodynamics. I remember it clear as day. I was just exiting meditation, and it just was spoken unto me, thermodynamics. And even, oh shit, that's how it's hot out here. You know what I'm saying, nigga? You know what I'm saying? Can't be getting all that. That's how it's hot out here in this fucking California sun. Let me get right, man. Oh shit. All right, man. Cause nigga can't be out here, crusty and shit. You know what I mean? That's out, nigga. I know it's the white overtone wizard, but a nigga don't need to be out here, with white around the mouth, white on the head, nigga. Nah, nigga, the light is in, nigga. You know what I'm talking about? And so definitely don't need to be having no rough and dry sort of sweat. You know what I'm saying? Just hey, but even going further into that, nigga, talk about salt, sweat, magnesium crystals, and all of that energy, man. We gonna get into it, man, because essentially I've been exploring the subtleties of these natures and forms and whatnot, understanding it, just in a deeper space of experience, and how even like, we create emotions, in our human experience and this human body, how emotions and things form based on like sensory stimuli and all of these things that thermodynamics speaks to, because in thermodynamics, if I could just get the word out, the study, for what a lot I've seen. And I'm gonna just let me before I go into the article and whatnot and studies and shit, because you can find articles about thermodynamics on Britannica.com and on Google and all that shit. But from when I was actually in the space of the infrared and thermal energy and just ultimately, traversing the space, nigga, in the astral plane, in the aura, in the mental body. I mean, we know that there's so many layers to the body and to the earth that, when you get an understanding, you start to understand, and at the same time, these spaces, begin to speak to you, they begin to speak to you, is up to one to like, really get connected and understand what is looking to be integrated, perhaps based on the information or awareness. And so what I come to understand, just based on my journey, being a psychonaut, being a psychedelic world traveler, being somebody who, enjoys the journeys of psychedelics and specifically mushrooms, where being able to go beyond the veil, or like I say, traverse, the hyperspace and the many different spaces and realms and whatnot of information, knowledge, and even events, because there's plenty of greater things going on, I would say, here and the beyond. So when you just kind of understand, the journey of one's own, let's say psychedelic mind, or psychedelic realm, should I say, then you could rather get a feel for your own inner experience, if I could say it like that, because even away from mushrooms, or just when you just in your daily life and just doing whatever you do, and you are still creating sensory and things of that nature is still going on. And I'm not gonna say it like, niggas be so dull and dense, that you need mushrooms or cannabis or any alternating substances to feel anything, or to to connect with yourself. No, that ain't it, man. Fuck all that. Fuck the dogma. I'm gonna say it like that. Fuck the dogma, man. Be responsible with your body and mind and the earth. You know what I'm saying? Because when you understand the responsibility of your mind and body and experience, then you won't overdo things. You actually understand not the limitations, but the communication that your body has when it's time to stop, or when it's time to go, or when like you'll know, because you understand your own self, and you learning more yourself based on your experience or lack thereof. So when it comes to desires, passions, and things of that, what I'm saying? And I say that to say, bro, that I want to lose I ain't losing track. I'm just getting it right. So in this space, what I'm saying regarding, your inner experience, one is always creating fields within a field, let's say it like that, like energy. And so when it comes to the herbs, plants, or even the stimuli of just, one's own mind, understand that the earth and what's already available here is here to assist you one way or another, or it can be. What I'm saying? I'm not saying everything is for you or everything is for everybody. No, but what's available here and what has been put here, what has been made here, what has been manifested, what we have created, what we have input here to the surface of this planet, what I'm saying, is here for us to utilize, experience, explore, and connect with, for us to remember ourselves and internalize these wisdoms, to upload and transcend them into greater, or even, let's say pass on the information, in the sense of like trade and exchange, So when you understand like the levels of the interdimensional travel, interdimensional beings, and subterranean beings and extraterrestrial beings, they're studying you. And so when you understand you, you know what I'm saying, and you are studying you, when you connect with your higher self, when you connect with your star and soul essence, right, then you'll understand the nature of all of these qualities, or you could get a glimpse of them just based on your work. And so that's something that I just want to input because I felt that was significant. And even when it comes to just like the qualities of the mind, right? That's something that was spoke about in thermodynamics, and they didn't say it like this, but I've said it like this before. And I'll say qualities of consciousness. You know what I'm saying? So based on your level of awareness, perhaps would be how you perceive something to be. You know what I'm saying? Or not. You know what I mean? Because you could have knowledge or not have knowledge, as far as just people out here ignorant, and so their perception is not necessarily a perception. Let's say they don't see anything, you know what I mean? They're not picking up what a nigga is putting down, or what anybody could be putting down, because it's just going over their head, or it's just what I'm saying, missing, going between their legs, you know what I'm saying, nigga? It's just Allen Iverson. And so you gotta understand, you know what I'm saying, who you are in this field, in the field that you generate consciously as a conscious being, as a soul and spiritual being in this human experience, because that's all it is. So even going further, more back to what I was saying, when it comes to the feelings of the feelings or the inner experience, this is where meditation reflects back to you the inner experience of, let's say, whatever the outer experience could be. And so that's something that I've been finding very interesting and profound, because in my meditations, what I've been picking up on or becoming more clairsentient with. And I don't even know why I said that like that, but I'm gonna say it like that because it's been feeling like that, and so shout out to that. But what I've been picking up on, is been becoming so like fucking easy, but not easy to the fact that like, oh, it's just easy, but it's like it's such a I said sentient, but it's clear cognizant. It's just a knowing. And so my thing is the trusting in that knowing, and that knowing even revealing more of what I would say I then I'm learning and picking up from my own experience of it. That shit is lit, man. And seeing how the relativity, or I would say my experience of my own thermo and aura and energy and fire and whatnot, right? Seeing how they have like been studying this shit in science, it's a lot of things dealing with the brain and how we use this brain, how we compute the energy or the information within this brain through energy, you know what I mean? So how we even make up consciousness and how consciousness operates within the brain, you know what I'm saying? And another thing is that the brain is not the mind. And so understanding that, your brain is not the mind of awareness that you are whether existing in or creating or, practicing. So therefore, understanding the nature of thoughts, emotions, sensory, you know what I'm saying, and how one is either being stimulated or being triggered, you know what I mean? Because then we get to understand a better purpose of the polarity between the right, the left, the positive, the negative, the feminine, the masculine, and the natures of the brain between the right and the left hemisphere. And my thing is, you can't be out here half a brain, you know what I mean? So if you out here just halfway thinking, nigga, I'll put it like this. Perhaps an inspired thought may compel an action. So you know how it is when you just know, you know what I'm saying? And you just take that action. Or you might not know, and it's like, man, I my mind don't know, but my body knows. So I'm gonna just do what I do, you know what I mean? That is still a knowing. And my whole thing is to get in tune with that knowing and understand that knowing more, or let's say, understand that knowing more to be able to break down the information in that, and even furthermore, see where it's coming from, understand the origin, you know what I mean? And that's something I was speaking on yesterday, is understanding the origin of one's own thoughts, one's own mind, one's own nature, and that comes from whether the essence and soul and spirit that you are, you know what I mean? So you're never not your energy, you know what I'm saying? So you always creating your reality, whether we can say consciously or unconsciously or subconsciously, you know what I'm saying? The whole point I find is realization. Just as, I would say it like this: there's been plenty of times I to have meditations where I'm seeing colors, I'm feeling vibrations, going to different spaces and places. I'm seeing different, shapes, forms, and things and beings and all sorts of, whatnot, right? But at the same time, I would say the mind and the veil of the mind, because we all have, that the veil that we go through is not only how we scope out, you know what I'm saying? So how we even impose on our own thoughts, emotions, and desires of ourselves, how we then move through those then layers, you know what I'm saying, to see what's what and what's not, you know what I mean? What is ours and what's not ours? What did I learn today? What did I not learn today? Or even let's say the memory, you know what I mean? And that's something that I find very specific, just based on the empowering of the mind, and even the depression of the mind, because of the energy or the information that we can absorb or consume or just be given just throughout life. Because niggas grow up a certain way, everybody got different backgrounds, childhoods, and foundations. So that was something that I was mentioning in the thermodynamics, is that the outside noise or the background noise, and the background is really just the noise that's just that ain't yours, and your brain has a space and a place for that, of which it receives and hears that, but it also filters it out as it's not that itself. So this is where I find the awareness of all of that is where one's supposed to really be taking control and taking the wheel and recognizing self in their own authority, in their own authority of their energy, based on mood, or however you want to feel, or however you like to be. Because essentially you don't want to just be you don't want to just be so fragile out here. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be so fragile out here to where any word or any feeling that may not be yours or against yours, you know what I'm saying, moves you out of character or out of your own alignment and energy, or let's say out of your fucking mind, where you ain't in control. So this is deeply, going into the mind control in the space of how we practice being within the mind, as far as the thoughts and things that we think and create, for ourselves to feel emotions and all this shit. And so that brought me to an understanding, just based on what I was saying. It's like, it's been plenty of times where I could have meditated, or I could have went there, and I didn't know maybe necessarily, or I didn't know that I knew. I'm going to just say it like that. I didn't know it to the word to say, okay, this is thermodynamics. I could only explain it, maybe draw it or show it to myself in the way that I've seen it, and find different reference points. But what I would say is that what it seems as though when you break through, or when you do the work and you're getting clear enough, the intuition and the wisdom of your soul and higher self communicates to you effortlessly. It's just amazing. And that's something that I find very, very, very important right now, when it comes to the stimuli of the mind, and the thoughts that we choose to think, and emotions that we choose to feel. And even sometimes we may not even understand that we're choosing them, because it could be all subconscious and unconscious of how we absorb information. So this is where understanding the individual and one's own participation and contribution to this whole great animation of a whole character play. You got to know who you are, man. You got to really take it. And I'm not saying be all fucking geeked out about it, but definitely you got to be able to be wise enough to take yourself serious, take yourself serious in the way that you ought to be, and of yourself, or let's say your capabilities. So even in a space or place that you might feel you're supposed to be, or you feel that you could be, or you could do, or abilities and things like that, how will you get to exercise and express or expand your free will? And really, it boils down to the simple choice of action and doing what you called to do. And so I find that even on a greater note, that comes from a place of knowing, inner knowing, and having an understanding of that inner knowing to unveil or reveal you in the way that you know, or would then know, as a learning. And that's something of like, I don't know, you can't, I feel like, I don't want to say it like that, you can't buy that shit, when it comes to the knowledge, the wisdom, or the understanding, and I would say the self-gratification, and so definitely when it comes to the self-gratification of even meeting yourself in a greater sense of self, you know what I'm saying, you must know yourself. You know what I mean? You must be able to understand what parts of the self that these let's say states and whatnot exist, and then at the same time the information and the wisdom that they carry to be able to integrate it into this reality and life. You know what I mean? And that's some shit that I just find is so lit right now, because what's been kind of funny to me is how all this information, you know, that's being put out there regarding Google, ChatGPT, nigga, Safari, all these outlets, you know what I'm saying, all these websites, all these, you know, search engines, right? But the main engine is your mind, you know, or your brain. I don't even want to say your mind, but overall, nigga, you are the engineer of the engine in the vehicle that you steer. So know yourself, you know what I'm saying? And when you understand that in a level of delicacy and not fragility, then you will be able to harness better your emotions and the emotions that you want to feel. You know what I mean? You'll be able to create motion as energy. So energy and motions. You'll be able to understand the energy and motions and the passions in which you drive, what drives and what floats your boat, as some may say, right? And so in a space of thermodynamics, this is what that covers a lot of, and I just felt that to be so significant, just based on, you know, when we meditate and when we go in and meditate and, you know, we practice meditation. Yes, we are practicing stillness, you know what I'm saying, as far as like a quote that I always like to say. I got it from some tea that I'll be sipping on a while ago, but it says inner stillness is the key to outer strength. And so I'll say that the stillness of the mind, where one is not all rigid in between different states, you know, of awareness, and one is just unaware. Let's say that it's all these states that could be, you know, conscious, or that is consciousness, but one is not let's say centered in either of them. So in that sense, you know, one wouldn't be able to grasp it in the way that it may need be. And so how you meet yourself, once again, even in these psychedelic journeys, how you meet yourself, you know, even in just fucking going to a job interview, or just going to, you know, a date or something. You know what I mean? You got to understand everything that we make, you know, or that we choose to create and make up in our reality as an event and an interaction with ourselves, nigga, that is a part of us in some way. You know what I mean? So how we authorize these things have more power to them than they have more power to them than what we may give them. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm really trying to say on that end is that the emotions that we may subconsciously do, and I'm saying we as humans because shit, everybody has went through some doubt. Everybody has went through some fucking anxiety. Hey, hold on, Westside. Shout out to Kemper, man. You know what I'm saying? That's the vibes. Whoa, and I'm gonna talk. Hey, man. Hey. Shouts out to the vibes, yo. That's what I'm saying. So, hey, hold on. Nigga, I knew I felt something. But I thought I was tweaking. So, like I say, if I let my thoughts and things like that, you know what I'm saying? Hold on. Where is it at? I don't know if y'all can see it. Is this where you at? Where is that? Man, I was fucking with the vibes, but shit. Hey, yo, that was love, man. That was love. Shout out to my spirit guys, man. Shout out to the June bug, you feel me? Because that's just energy right there, bro. Like, you know, and then I even go into that because June bugs are blind. So, you know, what are they seeing? You know what I'm saying? What are they picking up on in their body, in their vehicle, in their resonance, in their field? What are they able to, you know, connect to that I'm perhaps putting out in this moment. So, and I'm just throwing that out there just for shits and giggles, man. You understand the energy is energy. And when you understand your energy and your nature of energy, then you'll be able to break down the symbology of the manifest reality and the experience and things that you might go through. And so this is where, of course, thermodynamics and meditation, connects, because if you meditate, even just no, I'm not gonna jump ahead of myself. During meditation, when you meditating with sound bowls, tuning forks, or anything of the sort, you know what I mean, your body is reacting, and I feel that they call that the exothermic, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, anything, but that's the exo, where your body is basically responding or absorbing the information of this world, right? And at the same time, let's say interpreting it with its own inner information, or inner awareness. And so that's something that I find is lit, or has been lit, just based on the communication of meditation and what the body and mind is actually picking up on, and how to read one's own energy and aura, and just understand the nature of one's energy. You know what I'm saying? And so the colors and the hues of what the body may radiate based on vibration and let's say physics, right? This is really meant for you to entail, it's meant for you to entail what the radiance and the hues are communicating to you through you experiencing them as consciousness. And so this is where even, the great mystics and teachers have said, not to get caught up in the chakras, not to get caught up in the colors. And even, I think it was Seifert Manel, he said some shit. He was like, man, he's like, he said this, he said another teacher said this to him. He was like, the chakras know what color they are. So why you worried about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, why you tripping off if you on the right chakra or wrong chakra, or if this the right color or wrong color, when essentially it ain't even about all of that. It's really about the information or the communication of knowledge and wisdom that could be brought forth through these particular essences and experiences of such. And so I've been really just I obviously say shit. I've been deep in these spaces, and even having, just realizing like, okay, this is more interconnected and more spot on than I may think not, so I might be veering far off to where I don't need to be, just when it comes to like research, or let's say speculation. And then let's say in a space of meditation where you just may subconsciously say something, or you might just hear it, in the cognition, and it's just, such that clear cognizance. You just got that clear knowing. That's that, you know what I mean, nigga? That's that, yeah. You know what I mean? That's good intuition right there. Because intellect, will say whatever is just available already in the presets of what one has had stored in the mind based on stimuli. And so getting to understand how you stimulate your own mind and body experience, or how you can do that, how you're supposed to do that. You know what I mean? Like I said, these things are here to assist us when it comes to meditation, when it comes to, the ceremonies and rituals and all the magical, things of this world. And my thing is to see it as that, and not see it so rigid, or not see it so fixed, or just in one complex of like, in that, let's say, okay, and I don't want to say, don't nobody come for me, but it's just true, nigga. We program a lot of the things that are magic for medicine and healing, which is cool, but when it comes to going beyond that and just exploring consciousness, or wanting to explore the adventures within one's mind, or beyond the mind, and just understanding the spirit and multiverse and all the different things, man, that requires, I would say, I don't want to say it required like it's a requirement, but that's magic, my nigga. That's magic, that's power, that's consciousness, and that's the magic of your mind that you manifest. So therefore, taking credit for your own beingness and responsibility of that shit is more power than a lot of things. And it also can dispel a lot of the false thoughts, emotions, and things that don't need to be in one's fucking center nervous system. You know what I'm saying? It don't need to be in your mind. It don't need to be nowhere inside the body at all. You don't need to think those thoughts and feel those feelings that are not yours. And so this is where let's say the process of the cleansing, the restoration, and the healing and all of that. But I ain't even gonna say it like that. Like, gotta be so fucking deep. But the discernment and the distinguishing of one's being in their truth, or one's being in their own sense of self, versus a bunch of other fucking selves that you don't know about, or that ain't yours, you know ain't yours. And it's like, well, what the fuck is going on? So you got what they call, might say, some say split, some say mad psychosis, some say schizophrenia and all that, you know what I mean? But I just find fuck all that. Fuck what the doctors and what the traditional people be talking about, because they still are practitioners just like you are and should be. And I'm not saying you should be in the sense of like something's wrong or something, or only when something is wrong, but when it comes to you understanding the nature and the power of your beingness as a soul and spiritual being in this human experience. And that's where you are then to transcend this reality within this quote unquote mind body experience. And that's, we all do it, but at levels of which we do it, and so my thing is to really understand and get into the realization of that which we are doing, and let's say to be able to decode the information and wisdom from that to, let's say, bridge that or upload that and then take it higher, or trade it and share it and, build on that, man, because essentially that's what we are here to do in some way, shape, or form when it comes to creating our realities, and that when it comes to the building or evolution of the soul nature, right? Man, shout out to the wisdom, because this shit, nothing changes if nothing changes. That was the message. And so I would say the soul that has all the potential and knowing of that what it is requiring one in this position of a body and mind to be aware of that, because the mind, or this body, the body and mind has the potential to be aware of that and to be able to harness and cultivate that energy. And at the same time, man, shouts out to the thermodynamic freaking research, man, because what it was talking about was transcending and even it said it in a different way, but it said it talked about the screen of reality. So shout out to the Matrix, the architect and everything, because it said that you are not the screen, you know what I'm saying? So it ain't about the outside world, you know what I'm saying? Because you make up that through your own inner awareness in world, so to speak. So when it comes to whatever is outside of you, don't let that trigger you so much when it comes to what you may be experiencing or viewing on the television of the sidewalk, street, train, bus, plane, wherever the fuck you are, whatever you doing, however you doing it, you know what I'm saying? Because we all traveling, we all passing through just how we do, you know what I mean? Some skate, some ride bikes, nigga, hey, it is what it is, you know what I mean? And so I say that to say, hold on, I ain't losing my train of thought. I say that to say is that your screening don't come from the outer world, you know what I'm saying? And when I'm saying your screening, I'm talking about your reading, your information, your knowing what you pick up from that. Or I don't even say it like that. Information can definitely come from the outer world. Your information can definitely come from what is already here. Your consciousness and your awareness of it will determine your intelligence, or will determine your ability to be able to wield that information in a particular manner or manifest reality. And so that's where, I've been just kind of seeing things different, because I'm like, man, well, damn, on a collective, people who can actualize and get into themselves and do this work, you know what I'm saying? And I've been said this plenty of times before, just in my journey, that nigga, it's already, super beings living on earth, or living in earth in higher dimensions, some in lower dimensions. I'm just saying, nigga, when you understand the space of Earth as a planet and the planetary being, then you can, kind of get a better understanding of what is possible and what could be based on what is and what already is, let alone what's being shown to you on the fucking screen in the screen. So I'm talking about the television and the television. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so much stimulation and vibration and energy frequency that be coming through, and even at the same time, illusion of light. You know what I mean? Colors and lights and things flashing at the brain and body and making one feel and all this shit. So you really, 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 really got to get into it, and to bring it all the way through. Psychedelics will definitely help you do that, because psychedelics open you up regarding the energy of DMT, talking about mushrooms, as mushrooms has DMT in it. And so understanding how, I would say, the psilocybin and the thermodynamics of psilocybin, we could talk about the sacred geometry patterns. We could talk about the DMT elves, because I'll probably go in another video about that, because man, I've been decoding and debunking their ass, bro. Just because I feel I feel so different, you know what I'm saying, as to how I view these things. But it's not even that it's different, because I've seen it in this way, but I couldn't communicate it. I couldn't say it in the words. So now that I have like a better understanding of it, I'm looking into it more deeply to see what more can I pull from it, on the sense of like, knowledge. And that's something that I've been like, tapping into. But like I was saying, how these things take shape and form in the space of what is in our mind is part of a screen or a reality that is then formed into what would then be, what we're going through or are aware of, or are experiencing. It's coming from a space of awareness, but where is that awareness and how is that awareness and all of that taking shape and form? So I think, I don't say I think, nigga. Well, from what I know, just based on what I experienced, because I was doing it with myself yesterday. I'm like, nigga, I was seeing light form in my mind, so I was seeing things, take shape and form more like somatically. And shout out to the Soma, and shout out to the people who play sound bowls and work with, somatic sounds and all of that, because that expresses a lot of what the chemistry in the brain and let's say the energy of what is being expressed inside of there in the brain and body and all of that. And so when you can understand more of that you are consistently doing that, constantly doing that, and you are that, or you are, the author of that, you can have a better choice of that which you even allow in, or choose, like I said, choose to allow in, or even choose to push forward and project out. And that's something that's so significant, just based on how we operate our minds here in this human experience, just especially as individuals, because right now, they definitely got motherfuckers trying to, group up and gang up and, be hive mind the fuck out, so, you really got to know yourself. And I find it's a beautiful thing when you are taking that chance on yourself to challenge, the truth of consciousness, you know what I'm saying? And so this goes beyond emotions. This goes beyond sensory stimuli. This goes beyond all of that, because what you know of all of that will determine and define what is and who you are in that space, moment in time. And that's more important than shout out to Bob Marley, but that's more important than a rat race. That's more important than getting caught up in the TV screen of what you see, right? Or what you think you see, and being misled by sight and not moving off the faith and spirit or trust and will, because that's another thing too that the thermodynamics spoke on, is that the power of free will and the energy of free will, and how I suppose in so many ways how niggas exploit their own free will by abusing their mind and going into depression and all of that shit like that, man. Because in the way they said it, I understand it was more scientifically speaking. Like I said, everybody got their own backgrounds and upbringings that make up their reality and environment. So that's the main thing, is that environment. And even in psychedelics, you know, your setting and environment, all of that is necessary when it comes to what you then will experience, even in the hyper reality or hyper dimensions of that experience. And that is nigga, that shit is important. But nigga, for a nigga like me, I've been coming to a realization that nigga, this I feel like Chief Keef, this every day, nigga, you know what I mean? And that's another beautiful thing too, is that like I said, you don't need all of these things, you know what I'm saying, substances and all of you the substance, nigga. So how these things interact with you based on who you are, where you are, what you are, that's how, you know, you will open up unto who you are and what you need, you know what I'm saying? And at the same time, be able to filter out that which you don't want, you know what I mean? So your receptors or your receptivity based on, you know, energy, right, can become more clear, and at the same time kinesthetic and interconnected with, you know, your true self, you know what I'm saying? Not just the illusion or the half of who you are. And so that's where, you know, just bringing it all up to speed, where I mentioned the half a brain, you know what I'm saying, where you only left brain or you only right brain, you know what I'm saying, and you're not understanding the holistic nature of that which is all, nigga. It ain't just the mind alone, it's the mind, body, soul, and spirit. So everything has its part to play in the let's say in the space of the choir, nigga, but you the director, you know what I'm saying? So the song that niggas gonna sing, the sermon that niggas gonna hear, you know what I'm saying, you the nigga. You gotta know that, you know what I'm saying, as the priestess or as the priest, however you want to look at it, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to your own ministry, you know what I'm saying, and how you I guess I would say how you pastor for yourself, you know what I'm saying, how you speak for yourself, how you preach unto yourself, and how you even authorize your own temple, body, you know what I'm saying, will also be at a level of interest and authority where you are able to enter and access your own will power. And so definitely, man, you know, I don't know if I'm talking too fast for anybody, but I don't think so, you know what I'm saying, I'm just flowing. But like I was just saying though, the psychedelics and thermodynamics has a great connection, you know, when it comes to just like, they work well together when it comes to you understanding the nature of your inner experience and your inner world. And so this is where psychedelics, psychoactive plants, and many others assist the individual or the magician or practitioner in reading the field of what the information is forming or taking shape and form inside of one's own consciousness, you know what I'm saying? And so that's something like that I've been just studying, like I said. But even with the DMT elves and all of that, man, I'm like, man, people don't know these things are all connected to time. Like, that's how I feel. Just, you know, when it comes to like, even with the emotions and depression and, you know, the space of it all, it's all connected to time. And I would say it like this: if you choose a particular negative thought or a downward thought or emotion, you might not be as fluid, you might not move as much, you might not be inspired to move as much, you might be a little stagnant or stale or just a little bit, you know, slow. And you know what I'm saying? But when you are more neutral, you know what I'm saying, you either are more receptive or you are more compelled to operate and get going. And so let's say when you do take that action is more fluid, that action is, you know, more harmonic according to the inner dialogue and the inner, you know, experience that one is going for, right? Or looking to, let's say, bring about in the manifest reality. So nigga, and we've all had these experiences where it's like, nigga, I know today is a day for me to go to the store and everything I want is gonna be there, and nigga, I ain't gonna have no problem, nigga, I got money and everything. We done all had, I would say, synchronic experiences, and I find it's meant for us to be able to use these as bridges and understand the nature of what these things are actually trying to tell us or get us to see, or not even see, but to like I say, integrate. And that's something that I found was significant, even when we was talking about the screen. And it was said that when one is going beyond the screen so much, or let's say like alternating their experience and whatnot, you know what I mean? Like DMT, one can even with meditation, because you experience DMT going to sleep and perhaps in meditation if you're just that good. But I'm just saying, when it come down to it, hold on. When it come down to the whole, I don't want to say DMT experience, but when it come down to the space of your mind and how you enter that experience, should I say, yes. And upon entrance, you know what I mean, would determine where you are, how you are conscious, I'm gonna say, because your consciousness definitely, you know, carries the information in which you are then aware of. So what reveals back to you, even on the deeper levels of gnosis and cognition, it's meant for you to upload, integrate, and be responsible for as a spiritual being. You know what I mean? So not taking what you have inside of you and misinterpreting it as something other than you or outside of you, looking to harm you, you know what I'm saying, or looking to derail you. And so this even go back more within the space of awareness, let's say the background vocals of your mind, you know what I mean, the sensory stimuli, nigga, outside noise, memory, you know, all of these things that are interconnected into the brain. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand how these things form, and at the same time how these things just manifest, and even on a subconscious or unconscious level, because then when you conscious of it, you could then, nigga, reshape and change these things. You could alchemize these functions. You could, you know what I'm saying, get to reorganizing and reshaping the structure of your fucking brain. So even shout out to the psychedelics for that, you know what I mean, because it's been, you know, a deep study of how psychedelics or mushrooms can change the brain in many different ways, you know, of its structure. And so my whole thing is, you know, it's just understanding your energy and understanding how much more you are than you are not. You know what I mean? Because it's so easy to deny oneself before one receives the self or the wisdom of the self that one is looking for. So I'm not saying jump ahead of yourself and be arrogant of an asshole, nothing like that. No, but what I'm saying is, when you understand the quality of awareness and consciousness, you would then recognize yourself as qualified to do what you are doing as to why you are doing it. What's your purpose? What is calling you to it? And even if you feel like it ain't nothing in the moment, that should have come to you through you being you. You feel me? And so even when it comes to the truth and authenticity of who you are, what you are, you know what I'm talking about, that has its own way of speaking, and that has its own information and language and sense of self, of which, nigga, it is you. So my thing is, get out of your own way. You know what I mean? Get out of your own way, even in the mental space of capacity, because what really is to be discovered, what really can be uncovered, is greater than a lot of these books, greater than a lot of these fucking shams and crooks and motherfuckers who've been spilling out a lot of this information, you know what I mean, or misinformation when it comes to just truth. And so when you understand your own place and space within truth or within consciousness as it is, then you will learn the things beyond, you know, the things, you know what I'm saying, and understanding more of the scene within the unseen, to, let's say, go beyond the screen of the illusion or reality, as, you know, as some people paint it, but yet as you create it. And so, you know, I'm gonna leave this here, man, with gratitude and Westside gratitude, because I'm just so thankful. You know what I'm saying? I'm so thankful because there's been so much energy complimenting me. I want to say shout out to Kepra. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to Kepra. Shout out to the June bug, and shout out to the insects and spirit animals and all that, man. Because that was divinely guided. And I won't say it was unexpected, but what I will say is that I got a picture with my hair all the way out, and the June bug was in my hair, flying in my hair. This is like 2-3 years ago, and I was just thinking about that. And so the fact that this is just reoccurred in such a way where the June bug met me again, flying on my motherfucking year, you know what I'm saying? Hey man, I'ma just say, hey man, y'all have a great day out there. Y'all keep your energy up, man. Keep your heart up, man. Keep your head up, man. Stay true to you, you know what I mean? And don't forget that who you are, you know what I'm saying? Don't forget that you are God's. Don't forget that you are God. And when it comes to being that, you know what I mean, you keep being that, you know what I'm saying? You keep stepping in that, you keep operating that, you keep expressing that, you keep activating and accessing that and allowing that to transcend and be all that you are, because that's just what it is. And that's just, you know what I mean? Gotta know who you are. So, all in all, man, much love, gratitude.